hit you with some pretty cruddy stats on this one, so if you're sensitive, you better go ahead and shut this one off now, though I don't know why you're following somebody called the Angry Viking Therapist. Listen, 1 in 5 Americans was sexually molested as a child. So when you go to work tomorrow and you're in the room with 5 people, one of you is likely sexually molested as a child. 1 in 4 kids get beaten to the point where it leaves a mark on the kid's body. 1 in 3 couples engages in physical violence. The first thing it makes me think of, we're some freaking disgusting animals. The hell would we victimize people for like that? What kind of piece of crap are you? You got to take your anger and your sexual proclivities out on a kid. Jesus, what's wrong with you people? But trauma doesn't just affect the person that's the victim. It affects other things. The wives of men that have PTSD coming back from public safety or military or victims of trauma, they tend to have depression and anxiety. The children of those depressed mothers don't know how to form relationships later in life, and they're insecure and find life often intolerable. So pretty heavy stats, folks. What I want to know is, if you're one of those people, the 5, the 1 out of 4, the 1 out of 3, the wives of those with PTSD, the spouses of those with PTSD, why aren't you getting help? Why haven't you started that journey? If you could do it yourself, you would have already done it. Why haven't you reached out to somebody who's a trauma specialist? Why haven't you reached out to somebody who can help you understand what's going on in your brain? Listen, we're a very resilient group of people. Not just America, but humans as a whole. We've made it this far. Millions of years, we've made it. We've made it this far. How do we do that? Because we're resilient. We're tough. We didn't give up on day 1. We didn't give up on the day like many of you have given up already. Well, I don't need to look for help. I can do this myself. Then why haven't you done it already? I don't need help. I can do it myself. Yeah? Then why do I keep hearing you're screwing up your family? I can do this myself. Really? Why haven't you already? Why haven't you already? If you haven't started this journey, it's because you can't do it by yourself. You don't have to call me. Maybe I'm not your style. Maybe I'm a little too strong for you. Maybe you need somebody that pats you on the back, tells you it's going to be okay. Wrong channel. It is going to be okay, but you're going to have to do some friggin' work to get there. Whether that be changing your mindset, which you already know I'm going to tell you need to do. Whether it be things like reprocessing therapy, which you know, if you follow along, I'm going to tell you that you need to do for trauma. It's one of my specialties. You have to change. You have to change your mindset. The problem with trauma is it leaves you in the fight or flight condition. It leaves you there. Whether you've responded to a death, whether you've responded to a large number of deaths in a car wreck, whether you've been involved in combat, whether you've been molested as a child, whether you've been assaulted as an adult, whether you've been abused by a family member, your brain does not know what to do with that. It doesn't have to do with the incident itself that gets us stuck. The incident is terrible. Don't let any therapist or any coach tell you that they're going to make the event okay. You're always going to have negative thoughts about negative events. Trauma is trauma. Trauma is something that your brain doesn't know what to deal with. But it does know how to be resilient. But some of you are stuck. Some of you are stuck. Some of you are stuck in that raw nerve that continues to get flicked by trauma, continues to be put there by trauma, and continues to get flicked by daily life events. Part of our brain, ladies and gentlemen, is to keep us in fight or flight. Part of our brain is to keep us out of trouble. It's like the smoke alarm. But think about your smoke alarm. Does the smoke alarm detect smoke and think, is this chicken burning or is this wallpaper burning? It doesn't care. It just says, yo, smoke, over here, come over here, figure this out. We got a problem here. We don't have time for the smoke alarm to decide what kind of smoke it is. You don't have time for your limbic system to decide whether this is good or bad. It just has to respond. It does it in milliseconds. But you can fix it yourself. It does it in milliseconds. But you can change your own mindset. You haven't done it yet. It happens in milliseconds. but you can just turn it off. You can just turn it off. Really? How come when you're slamming the chair up and down on the ground, screaming at your kids while the front part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, is telling you, hey, Dad, bad idea here. You're going down that road again. You're going to make everybody upset at you. You're going to scare your kids. You're going to piss off your wife. You're going to end up sleeping in the truck again. How come when you're doing that, but your limbic system is making you go crazy and slamming the chair up and down? Because you're acting like something small has become a life or death emergency. Where do you think that sensitivity comes from? Where do you think that rawness comes from? It comes from the limbic system. It comes from the reptile. It comes from the fight or flight part of your brain. You need to do some reflection about whether or not you can actually take care of this yourself. Because for many of you, you're watching this video because you haven't taken care of yourself. You're going to have to change your mindset, folks. You're going to have to deal with the traumas. You're going to have to deal with it. It's not the individual trauma that causes all the problems. Trauma is a problem. But most civilians see 1.5 to 2 critical events in their life. Some, a large percentage, don't see any. Imagine that. Public safety officers see 750 critical events in a 20-year career. Here's what that tells me. 1, those of you that see lots of critical events, public safety, military, law enforcement, EMS, victims, nurses, doctors, y'all are some badasses. You see a lot of bad stuff and have to continue to be resilient about it. And you do, because you're still out there doing it, and I thank you personally for it. The other thing it tells me is it's not the event that causes the trigger. If the event was the problem, they'd all quit on day 2, because you can't deal with 750 of them. You can't deal with 750 raw nerves that get stuck. It's our interpretation of the event. If you were the victim of something, the actual victim of something, not the whiny victim of something, the actual victim of something, the actual victim of a trauma, your limbic system often does not know what to do with that. The right side of your brain, the chaos side of the brain, does not know what to do with that. It's supposed to put it on the left side of the brain when you're in REM sleep, put it away in the file. When the hell are you supposed to put a carload of kids being killed? Is there a file for that? Do you put it in the math file? Do you put it in the auto repair file? Do you put it in the things I don't like very much file? No, it stays over there like a raw nerve. And it consistently gets flicked. And then you become the a-hole all over again. Then after you've become the a-hole all over again, and you've scared your kids, and you've pissed off your coworkers, and you've pissed off the wife or the husband, and you get written up again. This should all sound familiar from my story, folks. Go back and watch it. Once that happens again, now you get to go sit by yourself and feel like a giant piece of shit for letting your family down again. You have to get help with this. Stop trying to fix it yourself. Do I look like somebody that routinely looks for help? Do I look like somebody that liked to ask for help? Go back and watch my story. I did look for help. A couple of different therapists has been a giant disaster. I had to go back to school to figure it out. But in all the years that I've been doing this now, specializing in trauma, specializing in mindset, specializing in adversity, specializing in high stress and high stress careers, I'll tell you, there are lots of people out there that can help. I hope I'm one of them. The people on my program, the Angry Viking Mindset Method, tell me in a week that they're better. A week. But you've been suffering for 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years. You're on your 3rd marriage. Common denominator there on number 3. It's you, by the way. It's your anger, and it's your stress, and it's your depression and your anxiety. If you could do it yourself, you would have already done it. If I'm the man for the job, go to my website, theangryvikingtherapist.com. I'm not angry at you. I'm passionate. I'm passionate because I know that you are not where you can be. You're still putting holes in the wall. You're still ruining family vacations. This is a brain problem, folks. It's time to get help. How many times can I possibly say it to you? It's time to get help. If you could have fixed this, you would have already done it. You'd already done it. I'll help you. The squad will help you. I'm passionate about it. This is what I do now. Let's go.